Can you hear me?
Gotcha.
Fantastic.
Chaz, welcome back. It is episode number 341 of The Grit.
Here we are, 341 in, David Lee Scales.
Hard to believe.
Hard to believe.
If we were doing one a day, that's almost a full year.
Isn't it more than a full year? 360? No, almost a full year.
Almost we're coming up on our 1 year. Um, well, the Boardroom show takes place in 2 days over the course of the weekend and just added weekend chats.
Cannot wait, and to be quite frank, looking forward to it. There are two, not that I dislike going to other stuff, but there are two things I look forward to. One is the Florida Surf Film Festival, the other, Boardroom show.
Good call.
Yeah.
Well, last year, Weekend Vans was on location at the Boardroom show, and we set up a little studio in the van. And Chaz would pull people in, longtime listeners or whatever. Like we'd get engaged in a conversation and then go, "Hey, can I interview you real quick?" And then he'd pull them into the van, do a quick interview, and we put those all together into one episode, kind of a bonus episode after the Boardroom show. And so we're doing that again. We got a message from longtime listener Tamara this week, and she goes, "Man, I'm coming on Saturday. I'd love to get a beer with you guys. But also, last year, Chaz tried to pull me into the van to interview me, and I chickened out, and I've always regretted it. I wish I had the opportunity to chat. I love chatting with you guys. I would love to do it on the record. Maybe I'll get another opportunity. Here it is."
It's amazing when you hear people say, or the old adage that, stuff goes by and it's a forever lost opportunity. Guess what? This is not a forever lost opportunity.
No, but Tamara, now the pressure is really on you. You've had a year to prepare for this interview. You better bring your A game.
Better bring some stories, Tamara. Better bring some hot tales from Huntington Beach.
Um, and I gotta say, Chaz, knowing that there was no way for you to prep for last year's interviews because you don't even know who you're going to interview, I think you did a very good job on the fly as the interviewer.
Oh, well, thank you, David Lee Scales. I'm hoping, yeah, if you're at the Boardroom show, I'll be there Saturday. Swing on by. I'll pull you into the van. If you have something to say, especially if you're one of those uh writer inners or caller inners at any kind of frequency. The people want to know. The people want to hear. I want to know. I want to hear.
James from San Diego,
James, if you're there, if you're at Boardroom, swing in, please.
Alejandro, Com Turin, I think was there last year.
So many. There are just so many. Calm got it
Carl,
last year, didn't he?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't either.
Carl von Fanningstad.
There's almost too many good ones. Swing on by. And if you haven't planned to attend Boardroom yet, I will say, you will not be disappointed. It's not one of those things that you go to and think, oh, that was okay. I don't know anyone who feels that was okay. Guess who was there last year? David Lee Scales, who came in not even somewhat incognito, who came in just as himself.
Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill was there. Have you seen the new pictures of Jonah Hill he's back in the press?
I've seen the photos. He's unrecognizable.
That movie looks so, so funny. Have you read anything about it?
No, I don't know anything about it.
So he looks unrecognizable and so, so funny because those pictures were taken on set. You can see him at page 6, dear listener, if you care. But Jonah Hill and Kristen Wiig are currently, Kristen Wiig, Saturday Night Live fame, Bridesmaids, very, very, very funny. Uh, I only read that Jonah Hill and Kristen Wiig are identical twins who were cut off from their families. I think the title of the film is Cut Off, and it's those two being cut off from the financial, like two spoiled rich twins who get cut off from the family finances.
Amazing.
It looked,
Who's making the film? Do you know any
uh,
names behind it?
I mean, I think Jonah wrote and is maybe directing as well.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe we will see him at the Boardroom show yet again. The other follow-up, I mean, look, we don't need to go into Jack Johnson yet again, but a lot of feedback from listeners saying, I think Chaz just hates music. Like, certainly he hates guitars, but there's a good chance he doesn't have any appreciation of music at this point. So, do you like music? Is the question.
I love music, but my musical taste has really taken a hard turn in the last, let's say, 4 years.
From what to what?
From my family hated my musical taste. I'll just be quite frank. I would love, and I still do love, I got a real kink for like Norwegian alt pop.
That's strange.
High as a Kite. You ever heard of High as a Kite? High as a Kite is a phenomenal band. Anna of the North. There's a bunch of those Ravenettes. I mean, you know the Ravenettes.
I don't think so.
The Ravenettes, epic Danish band. Suna Rose Wagner, epic, epic, epic music. So all that is, and that's still in very much rotation, but I'm probably 70% now classical. I'm
Oh, yeah.
probably it's for started with the kid obviously is doing ballet. Stravinsky, the timing on Stravinsky is so hard. And so getting that into her bones, they dance a lot of Stravinsky at the a lot Balanchine ballets are Stravinsky. And that timing is so hard. So a lot of Stravinsky. I love Tchaikovsky, a ton of Tchaikovsky, Gabriel Fauré, Paul Hindemith. Yeah, I'm like classical 70% of the time. And then, but then I'll pick kid up from ballet, right? And it's funny how a kid's like, I'll be very curious how your Austin's taste develops. Kid has her own, so pick her up from ballet. What do you think she wants at full volume?
Taylor Swift.
Nope. She'll listen to Taylor Swift and loves Chaperone, but what she wants more often than not is Metallica, Slayer, Rage, Nirvana. Yeah,
Did
that's
she get that from her mom?
no, for probably some from me. Like I had her on a steady diet of Nirvana early, but didn't try to, how do you influence your kids? Usually when you play your kids something, I think as a kid or as a young kid, they loathe it growing older. But she's really fallen into heavy 90s.
That's shocking.
The Smiths are on constant rotation, Morrissey's on constant rotation. Like that is all. So that's where I fall in my musics, but it's a good 70% classical at this point.
Well, then it comes into focus why you would keep referencing Jack Johnson as being boring, because it's the polar opposite of Stravinsky.
Yes. It's exact. I mean, Stravinsky, and if anyone listens to Stravinsky, Stravinsky's hard, right? It is a hard listen. Like what he does musically is, and I'm no Stravinsky expert, but now it's been like 4 years where it started not as a chore, but as a, okay, kids got to understand this syncopation and this timing. But now I just love it. And so Agon and all of the really, really complex Stravinsky scores, I think have probably altered my brain. And so then I do hear a Jack Johnson, and I appreciate simple music too, obviously, like, Nirvana. I mean, it's three chords. All of this stuff is three chords. But the Jack Johnson, just the nothingness of it, is tough for me to abide.
Well, a listener wrote in and said, during the Great Dead debate, you might remember Chaz very briefly mentioning Fugazi, their CD
Uh,
13 songs.
yes.
He could have gone even further with that to say that Fugazi did everything that the Dead did, but better and for real. Show prices were always capped at $5. Most shows were benefit shows, but out of all their own records, I'm sorry, I think they meant to say they put out all their own records, would not do interviews with mainstream media. All shows in DC were either free or benefits. They confronted violence at shows directly and peacefully, and on and on and on. And though smaller than the Dead, they toured the world packing shows on their own terms with zero corporate entanglement. And musically, they played constantly, even when not doing shows, and never used set lists. Every show was spontaneous but well crafted. So yeah, The Dead was great, but no Fugazi great. So what does this have to do with Jack Johnson, you might ask? Well, when Jack Johnson was on the Water People podcast with Lauren Hill and Dave Rostovich, they asked Jack if there was an experience after which Jack was never the same. To this, Jack responds, to paraphrase, My friends and I were driving to Kahuku High School listening to the radio, and Fugazi's Waiting Room came on the radio. He described being stunned and knowing that he had to start a band. He had to make that sound. Now, I'm not defending Jack's music, so maybe this complicates things. And somehow Jack heard Waiting Room and then ended up making banana pancakes. I'm not sure how that happens, but there is something there. And then, furthermore, check out Sterling Spencer's bits on banana pancakes, and they're really, really funny. And then, as a final footnote, Dan Zantara, who recorded most of all Fugazi's records and almost all the legendary DC punk music, he also surfs.
Epic. Yeah, I saw Fugazi in Orange County at some point and couldn't believe it. I mean, it was an epic, crazy show, but it was literally $5. It was like $5 cash at the door, and that's it. And they were, big. Yeah, I mean, as big as they ever were then, and but no problem. $5, boom, and it was a show and a half.
Were people pissed at me for calling it Fugazi instead of Fugazi?
Yes, probably, but
Sorry.
I've only ever called it Fugazi, so maybe you are right. It could well be Fugazi.
I think mine is more informed by like watching some Italian mobsters talking about a fake diamond,
Yeah,
calling it a Fugazi.
yeah,
You know,
could be,
so I
could
was
be.
replicating a New
But
Jersey mobster.
maybe that's what the band is actually named, and I've just been like uninformed and calling it West Coast Lazy Fugazi this whole time.
Who knows?
It's a military term, you know.
I did not.
Fugazi. It's like fucked up. It's not foobar, but it's something
It's
like
an acronym.
it's a yeah. Read it or that time of the show. We need to have theme music for this time of the show where we.
It means not genuine, bogus, or false, which is what I always knew it to mean. But that's all that the internet says right now.
Okay, maybe it's not, and I thought it was military.
I don't see anything on the internet at the moment that says that.
Okay.
Um, there was another email quickly that came through. It said, been meaning to chime in on so many topics discussed on the grid, most of which I've forgotten about. But do you guys even like music? Of course. Regarding the latest episode, he moves on from that and says, but regarding the latest episode, yes, Edward Norton is the coolest person on the planet. Please do yourselves a favor and refer to Rick Rubin's tetragrammaton, tetragrammatron, tetragrammatron podcast episode from January 24th, 2024. Edward's articulation of his surfing experience is as good as I've ever heard anyone describe it. Furthermore, the story that he tells in that podcast about the late 90s when about landing in cons with Brad Pitt on a private jet and subsequently smoking the largest joint they've ever smoked moments prior to screening Fight Club is, in my humble opinion, the greatest story ever told. Finally, and not coincidentally, per the fantastic Point Doom trifecta celebrity story by a dear listener, he professes his deep love for the Chili Peppers song White Braids and Pillow Chairs that is in fact excellent. Also, the song Could Have Lied from Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic is possibly the greatest song of the 20th century. And that album, by the way, was also produced by Rick Rubin. Anyhow, keep up the good Lord's work. It is so well appreciated.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, I feel bad about my Chili Peppers hot take. Like I was just spoiled by MTV and K-Rock during their height. Or yeah, and it was too much. But so I never
Oversaturation, same thing I
yeah.
said. Yeah,
And I never did the proper deep dive, right? I would take like I think I had the Columbia House CD, Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic, and whatever, but I don't think I gave it proper play just because I was getting inundated so much with it already.
totally. By the way, do you have any thoughts on Rick Rubin?
Yeah, so I got to see Rick Rubin in the flesh. He was up when I went to interview old Laird Hamilton. Rick Rubin was in the pool doing the Laird Hamilton, Gabby Reese, what's it called again? Has a name, whatever their thing is. Yeah, he was there doing it. So, but always massively both impressed and semi-stunned by Rick Rubin, right? Like, I don't know why it doesn't just settle in at this point. Like, okay, that's who he is, right? But you see this big bearded ZZ Top kind of guy. And you think, okay, like classic rock, I guess, but no, it's stinking. Where'd you get his start in like whatever rap, early LA
I
rap?
mean, even that wasn't his start. I think his start was way prior to that, but he absolutely was instrumental in Jay-Z's
Yes.
stuff, Beastie Boys,
Yes.
all the way through. And but his range is so vast. Like he's
Huge.
working with the Avett Brothers, he's working with every genre of music, which really goes to show that there, as with surfing, there's these fundamentals that translate to 1 foot waves and 30, 50 foot waves and bottom turns and aerials. And if you can just figure out those fundamentals, it applies across the board everywhere. And I feel like that's what he's done in music.
Absolutely. I mean, I think Rick Rubin is, still alive, so can't quite call him a genius yet. But I think he is, at least in terms of modern kind of pop music, has to be a genius.
Not even pop music though.
I
Like,
know, but like pop, like by pop, I mean popular. He's, Rick Rubin's not mixing, or maybe he is, and I don't know about it, but like underground, crazy stuff. Like I think it's all stuff, or that we're aware of, that is, popular. I don't mean pop
so
as in Taylor Swift. I mean
yeah.
pop as in popular.
So back to your original response, you see the visuals of him. They always captivate me. Like somebody who
Yeah.
picks a look and commits to the look, but then his persona or his personality is the exact opposite of the look. You expect him to be a biker who's like gruff and aggressive, and then he starts talking and he's more mild-mannered and thoughtful than the Dalai Lama.
What's his book?
I I saved it long ago because I always meant to read it, and I just found it recently on an Amazon list that I had saved. Um,
the wife read it and just effusive praise. I mean, I think it's an honest to goodness look into, what to do, how to create, how to be your best self, kind of, not in a self-helpy way, but in just real genuine insights from somebody who is very, very, very talented.
the creative act,
That's it.
a way of being.
That's it. Which I
Yeah,
think is phenomenal. Or yeah, I haven't read it, but from what I hear is phenomenal.
he's a fascinating figure, and the fact that he has a podcast where he kind of doles this stuff out regularly is incredible. Because yeah, in the past you'd have these people who put out a book and that's all you might get from them, but he's out there weekly publishing this stuff. So
Jack
what a
Johnson,
resource.
get yourself with either Fugazi or Rick Rubin, and that's the thing about stinking Jack, is just the one tone, right? Give me something else. Like Jack, just throw something else down. Let me see your range. Let me see something.
Yeah. Well, reminder, listeners who want to listen to that, Tetragrammatron, and the episode is back from January 2024, and that's the one with Edward Norton, obviously. I have heard a version of that story before. I don't remember where, but him talking about smoking a big blunt with Brad Pitt on the plane and then going to watch Fight Club at Cannes. Like, and I think the movie had gotten really mediocre or like not great praise from the critics. And so they went there and they're just like, let's just get super stoned and like just go have a good time. Nobody's going to appreciate this film anyways. And so them explaining watching the film high as a kite was funny.
Speaking of good music, that the Pixies last scene when Pixies are playing and buildings are falling. I mean, I remember sitting in the theater watching that, just thinking this is perfection.
Yeah, but same thing with oversaturation. That Pixie song, the Pixies were amazing, up until that point, and then that happened. It was kind of like, guess I can't like the Pixies anymore.
A lot of Pixies floating around. But then Frank Black went and did his own thing in a weird way.
What do you mean, a weird way?
Did you ever listen to Frank Black?
I mean, I don't know what was weird about it.
I mean, he just went off, I think, and did his own solo thing, which was not as commercial as Pixie stuff. But I think there's some real gems in the Frank Black catalog.
Well, moving into surf news, or maybe this could be a clickbait category. I don't know. I loved this article. Working class Adonis, quote, working class Adonis musculature of world surf champ John Florence revealed in new video. I think that was a Derek headline. Did you read the
Peak,
article?
yeah, peak Derek Riley. I mean, when Derek is good, no one touches him.
So, in case the title didn't make sense, this was a video. I think it was a Nathan Florence. Was it a Nathan video or a John video? I think
I
it was a
think it
Nathan
was a
video.
Nathan video that
Yeah,
John featured in.
correct. So John features in this video, and his physique is what Derek is writing this article about. John looking more muscled than he previously looked. He was
Except
always.
except do you have the article pulled up there?
I'm gonna read. I'm gonna
Okay.
read the quotes. Yeah, but maybe I'll set you up for a question you can answer after I read the quote.
Yeah.
He's been spending this year on a sailboat, obviously. So the question to you, somebody who sails, is just, is it the ultimate workout for your body? You're constantly positioning yourself, you're flexing your core the entire time, you're flexing your legs the entire time. So it's like the ultimate kind of real world physique builder, it seems.
And nothing is more like if you're in the gym, right? And you got to do 10 sets of something or, whatever it is. And after eight, you're like, yeah, that's good enough. Like when you're pulling up the sail in like pulling up the main in full gale force and you're going to slam into the rocks unless you get that thing up in time, where the amount of adrenaline and there's no option to do the work. There's no like getting off after a hard, weekend of sailing, there if you could sail all the time hard, and I see John's videos and he does do hard, right? Like
Yeah.
John's gentleman sailor. He's out there in storms, out there in squalls, out there in, bad wind. Like you're always moving, you're always adjusting. It is like it is perfect. I mean, if you could, I don't know how with all these silly uh fitness fads from, surf fitness, like that one they have in New York where you're on the board and it's blah, 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 to CrossFit, to whatever fitness fad. I don't know how there's not a sailing fitness fad where somebody doesn't get like a big old, I don't know, 60-foot sailboat and have everybody out there pulling the sails, dropping the sails, pulling up the sails, tacking, pulling up the sails. Like from there's a lot of twisting stuff
Yeah.
and a lot of pulling stuff, right? And then always on a moving surface and the time pulling up the anchor. I mean, stinking uh cutlass broke on Buddy's boat and we were on the rocks anchored, right? So having to pull an anchor, getting it dislodged where he's like backing in and out of the boat, but you gotta pulling it up physically and anchored, and you have to because you're gonna crash if you don't pull it up. Best workout on earth.
That's exactly what my thoughts were, even though I've never done it. And to your point of if you had to do 10 sets of whatever it is at the gym, you're also taking breaks in between.
Sure.
This, you're never taking a break. Like, sure, maybe you're not pulling up the sails the entire time, but you're always, like I was saying, flexing your core, flexing your legs. You have everything. And then if you're at sea for an extended period of time, there's no processed food. So you're
No.
eating like lean things, high protein. So all of that, the diet and the constant keeping your body flexed all the time is how you end up looking like John. And
I
by the
mean,
way, John, three-time world champ, was never unfit, but he never had muscle tone. It was like he didn't have a dad bod, but he was just like lithe, you know?
yeah. But would you call John cut in those
No,
photos?
well, not previously.
Would you call him cut in the photos that Derek posted to Beach Crit?
Cut is not the word I would use.
Let's read a description.
Derek does it better than we can. Quote, John Florence, who turns 33 in 10 days, is a man of medium height, as you know. But the video reveals shoulders that are strong and with a waist narrow. His hands, large knuckled, suggest a boating man's power. His hair, white and curling, falls down a broad back, and his eyes, deep set, are blue and bold. And those dang titties, swelling full and comely, can you imagine your hand cupping their heavy weight and feeling its owner shiver under your touch? His lids fluttering as you rub the tips of your thumbs over those silky pink nipples. Those sweet buds tighten as you swoop down and suck them hard. God! Exclamation point.
Derek Riley, ladies and gentlemen, nobody does it better. Not one.
The
That
physical description, first of all, was too much and very funny, but why is he sucking the nipples?
I mean, it's just perfection. It's Derek. Just, I don't know how Derek, and maybe he has. Maybe that's how Derek Riley has made his fortune, writing erotica. But I don't, if he has not, I don't know why he hasn't.
Was that a late night? Did he publish this late at night after a couple of drinks?
No, Derek is not a drinker.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, he's not that he doesn't drink, but Derek is not prone. He's not like, oh, I'm gonna get boozy and then do something. I've very rarely seen Derek boozy.
Well, I I get DMs from people, I get emails from people, and there's certain ones that come through late at night.
Yeah.
Like I just know, like because I got somebody else, I've said this before, but I have somebody else managing my Instagram at Surf Splendor. So like we'll be in constant communication throughout the day, but he'll screenshot me certain things that he wants me to address. And I look at it and I'm like, dude, that guy, check the timestamp on that. That came through at midnight and I can tell.
How much self auditing do you do after a couple drinks?
Oh my God, I've learned to do a tremendous amount. Like it's very highly filtered.
The like I think it was even last night. Was it last night? Maybe night before? I thought, genius idea, gonna send this thing out, gonna send it right out. And then I thought, nope, 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 nope. If it's a genius idea, it will last until the morning.
And
Go
did you
give
check it in the
up.
morning and what'd you think?
Is a good idea. I got a
Oh,
good
okay.
idea going on here, but it would have been one of those things. Yeah, it's a good idea, but uh, yeah, like the self-editing now of lesson. And dear listener, this is a tools to live by. Do we have more tools to live by coming up today?
Not today.
Okay, then here's the tools to live by. Bayer watches. Fantastic timepieces, wonderful. Get yours today, etc., etc. But tool to live by, if you've had a couple drinks, keep your mouth well and truly shut, and you will not regret it. Keep it shut in person. Keep it shut via text. Keep it shut via email. Once you're aware of yourself, as I've had a few to drink, keep your mouth shut. You will never, ever, ever regret that. There is nothing you were going to say that you're going to think, oh man, you're going to wake up in the morning and think, why didn't I say that? That thought has never once floated through anyone's head. And it's not that hard because you just put that in your brain, lock it in your brain, keep your mouth shut. And then you get the boozy and you think, time to open my mouth. But then that thing, keep your mouth shut, will be in there. You're like, oh man, I got to listen to that curmudgeon. That curmudgeon's doing you right.
Couldn't agree with you more. And it's because I learned the lesson the hard way in my 20s.
Like the times you wake, nobody has to wake up in the morning. And I guess the counter argument would be, but isn't it funny? Isn't the party enlivened by, and that's what you think when you're half in the bag, right? This party is gonna go off right now because I'm going to say blank. The party can go off because you say blank, but not in a way that will make you wake up the next morning and think, did the right thing.
Definitely not. And the other thing is, even just late night, if you're not drinking or doing any illicit drugs, late night, your thoughts are just different. You're more
Yeah.
free flowing. Like I've sent emails late at night or the middle of the night that I'm like, oh God dang it. Why did I
Yeah.
do that? And so couple that with the booze, it's a bad combo.
It's not a good combo.
You may notice I don't reply to text messages after a certain hour,
Yeah.
like probably 7 o'clock at night. Maybe it's 8 o'clock, but it's just like, I'll deal with this tomorrow. Doesn't matter what it is almost. It's just, I can't, I mean, I trust myself, but it'll be better tomorrow, like,
Yeah.
and there's nothing that can't wait 12 hours basically.
No.
So, anyways, Derek, I don't know what inspired him in that John John article other than the physique of John John himself, maybe.
I mean, it's good. John John's doing the perfect thing. Let's just be quite frank. John John is doing what K-Rock did not do for us when it came to the Chili Peppers. John holds himself back enough. Nathan doesn't, right? Nathan is ever present. Obviously, they have a different revenue model. Nathan's got to be out there on his YouTube channel and he's got to be driving stuff. John doesn't need to drive stuff, right? And so John withholds himself perfectly. Where then you see a John, and maybe that's all it took for Derek to get poetic, is seeing John again for the first time. And when was the last time you saw John? A couple months ago, right? Unless you're like a weird John super fan and are hogs, stalking his wife and wherever you can get a taste of John, you don't see John floating into your feed very often.
No, but the last time we did see him, he did not have swelling full and comely titties.
He sure didn't. Now he does. Do you think that as long as John keeps sailing, he won't go full dad bod? It's funny with John. I noticed early days with John, those thick cankles that he had, which is probably how he can stay so solid on a board. John has like telephone pole legs. And I kind of always wondered, well, how is that going to evolve? How's that going to age? And I guess we're seeing it into a beautiful Adonis.
I guess so. He's impressing us all. Well, moving from one physique to the other, Jason Momoa gets saved by Laird Hamilton.
I feel this story, I've read versions of this. Did this thing get dropped in an interview like a couple years ago and then it just keeps resurfacing?
It's possible, but the new story, did an interview on Smartless. He was on the Smartless podcast, and that's where he told this story recently, and that's where listeners can hear it.
Okay, so yeah, I think I heard a version of this story a couple years ago,
Okay.
where it was also Laird who came and saved him. I don't think he identified Laird, but I think it was identified as Laird somehow, and I knew it was Laird who had done that. But it's a great story.
It's an incredible story and really not hyperbole that Laird saved his life.
Yeah.
Jason, you can go, I'll post the link to the episode of Smartless. It's at
Do
the
you like
seven.
Smartless, by the way?
What's that?
Do you like Smartless?
No.
Every time I'm on a long road trip, I I will come around to Smartless and think, oh, love me some Jason Bateman, love me some what's his dude,
Will Arnett.
Will Arnett, and I guess the Sean dude is fine too. Don't love him, but they're three having this conversation based on what appears to be an honest friendship, and I'll listen, bored out of my wits, driving, got 1,000 miles to go. I'll turn it on, and I can never take more than 10 minutes. They're
I
like, it doesn't work.
I fully agree with you. Apparently, other people like it, but even with the Jason Momoa episode, they're talking over each other and him.
Yeah,
So he's trying to tell a story, and then one of them tries to like shoehorn in a joke.
yeah,
Like he said the
which
name
is
of a
not
surf.
funny.
No, he said the name of a surf spot, and then of course all names of surf spots are kind of like, you know, I don't know what, but he said the name of a surf spot, and they're like, "Oh, that sounds like a gay bar in West Hollywood," And
Yeah.
then somebody else does another joke 3 seconds. It's like let Jason tell the name, tell the story.
I mean, yeah, I don't, I suppose if you want to be on the couch with your three Hollywood friends who each kind of need attention, then that's the podcast for you.
I guess so. Well, I'll give you a quick version of Jason's story, but you should go listen to it because it is kind of crazy. He was paddling with Dave Kalama, Laird Hamilton, a group of who's who stand-up paddle dudes off the coast of Maui. And really, obviously, it's windy on Maui. So it was like this real windy, and it was through a section that was like had a ton of swell. So the ocean's like rising and falling and chop and all that sort of stuff. So he ends up falling off of the SUP, and either the leash broke or he didn't have a leash, but it gets swept away. So he's floating at sea by himself, and the waves are so, or the swell is so big that you can't see him. Like it's 8 foot rising and falling, and the other guys are just moving and they don't notice or something. So he's stuck by himself. Laird eventually figures it out, but Jason, he didn't give an exact timeline, but he was probably floating for more than 30 minutes and exhausted. And he said he literally gave up. Like, he's like, my legs stopped working, my arms stopped working. I still had will to live, but like, eventually I gave that up. And at the moment I did, my foot touched something and he thinks it was reef. He said at the first he didn't know if it was like a whale or an animal or something or reef. And finally he was able to kind of lock onto it with his toes. But he said it was just the amount of water in between the reef and the surface was his exact height. So he had his like lips up trying to keep a little bit of air while keeping his foot grounded on the reef to hold him stable so he didn't have to swim. But it was also sharp. So it was like shredding his foot. And he held on to that for about 10 minutes and just getting his feet shredded. But like, this is the only way I can survive because my arms and legs aren't working anymore. Thankfully, Laird shows up and Laird had Jason's board towing it behind his own board and gets Jason up onto the board. And then they had to paddle 7 miles to get out of there. And of course, it was in those types of conditions. He said his feet were bleeding the entire way back. There's blood splashing around on the stand-up paddle. He was now worried about sharks at this point. But he said he truly gave up, thought his life was over. He had a young kid at the time, I think a 6 month old at the time. He had been smoking. He was like a addicted to cigarettes prior to this, and he had tried to quit smoking through various methods and nothing worked. He said that did it for him. He got back to the beach and was just never smoked another cigarette, never had an impulse to do it because he really got a glimpse at death and it just shifted his reality entirely.
If you're out with Laird Hamilton, say you're going on an adventure with Laird, of course Laird's going to go off. Laird is not the kind of dude who's going to hang back and, make sure everybody's okay. But also, if I'm out with Laird somewhere, I would basically trust that when things turned, Laird would come and save me. Like that, I mean, you would have to just have faith in Laird.
I think Laird completely knows Jason's limitations and would not have put him through that if he wasn't ready to save him.
Yeah.
Like I think Laird lives his life almost like he is bringing people through these training things that is going to push their limits, and he always knows it's his responsibility.
I mean, that's the crazy thing to take that on. Not only is Laird, epic, brave waterman doing incredible bloody blah things, but then to say, hey, I'm going to take you out and do that with you, taking your life on my shoulders too, right? Like, I, that's cool with me. I got you. I mean, being in the pool with Laird, it was a lot of that, right? Him pushing to and it's like, obviously it's not dangerous per se, but who knows who's getting in that pool and your dumbbells to the bottom of the pool and blah, blah, blah. And Laird's like, we all have our limit. Go find it. Go find what your outer limit is. I'm here.
So the next question is next time you interview Laird, how many people have you saved? How many lives have you saved?
I mean, that's the thing. I would imagine saving Jason Momoa, going not only, it's not like he saved his life. I can't imagine that would be the thing too, right? Like you would be in Jason Momoa's spot. And also, as the way Jason tells this, Jason Momoa himself panicked. You have reached the end. You have, accepted that this is probably or could be it. You're going to die. Laird swoops in, not panicked, not like, oh, what, get on my board. No, Laird just went calmly, probably fetched your board, comes back up, hop on your board, bro. We got a 7 mile paddle to do. Like, just the, yeah, I mean, Laird Hamilton, all the fun that was made of him over, like, I love that Laird just stayed the course. It's like, yeah, I get made fun of for a minute. And then people will eventually realize that I truly am absolutely one of a kind because I am.
And it's remarkable. He is a superhero in real life.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Laird has saved. I bet Laird has forgotten how many people's he saved, to be quite frank.
Totally agree. I think it's nearing 100, probably more than 100. And I doubt he's ever even told the Jason Momoa story.
Next time I see Laird, I'm gonna go up to him and just say, Laird, you probably don't remember this, but there was a day out in offshore somewhere and I got ripped away by a current, and you saved me. And see if Laird is just like, yeah, it stands to reason. Like, has
I
no
fully
memory
believe
because
it.
there's so many of them that he's done. He's like, yep, yeah, makes sense, I guess.
Exactly. It's what I do.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, I've never seen a single thing that Jason Momoa has been in.
Wow. Count that to you saw Game of Thrones.
I never watched Game of Thrones.
Wow. The amount of your like it's crazy. I thought it was just Star Wars at first, but the purposeful holes you keep in your pop culture references is something.
They're not purposeful. There probably is a common denominator amongst them.
Is it
Uh,
K-Rock related? Is it Red Hot Chili Peppers? Once you get hit with something enough times, you're like not going to do it.
I think that might be what it is. Yeah, because Game of Thrones, I didn't have HBO at the time it came out, and then everybody loved it, and that's all anybody talked about, and therefore now I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, okay. So it's the
But
K-Rockification of David Lee Scales.
but I will say with that one specifically, maybe it was during COVID, Lauren and I were like, we need stuff to watch, and everybody seemed to like that. Let's try to watch it. So I did watch an episode or two of season one, like started at the beginning, but it was fantasy. The
Yeah.
whole fantasy realm I can't really get into with anything.
They really lean into the fantasy too with the opening credits stuff, the song and the like everything that happens. It's like slamming you in the head with a hammer.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I'm impressed by Jason Momoa's career and I like his connection to Hawaii and all that sort of stuff. But I just simply have not watched Aquaman. I haven't watched that Game of Thrones. I don't even know what else he's in at this point. Oh, the new one, Chief of War,
Chief
I've
of
heard is
War.
really good. Haven't watched that.
Do you have Apple?
Yeah.
Are you gonna watch Chief of War?
I
Break the
should.
Momoa embargo.
I feel no, there's no embargo. I would like to break this one actually. I'm at the point now with Star Wars where I'm proud of it that I've never seen a Star
Sure.
Wars film and I want to maintain that till the day I die. But Jason Momoa, I have no animosity towards, and Chief of War seems like a great entry point because I do love Hawaii and I want to know more.
I will tell you, as somebody who doesn't enjoy fantasy per se, or not even per se, who doesn't enjoy fantasy, Game of Thrones is a fun run up until the last season. Last
Okay.
season sucks, but Game of Thrones is it's worth uh muscling through fantasy like dislike. And Momoa in Game of Thrones is phenomenal. Is
Okay.
Drogu or whatever his name is. He's really a good character.
Okay. Cool. I'll give it a shot. Um, from three fine physiques to another and a stand-up paddle story, we got a new Celebs in the Wild coming in this week.
Boom, here we go. We ask and we shall receive, Daily Scales.
This week's Celebrity in the Wild inspired and reminded me of one of my many encounters I had during my dozen or so years living in LA. One fall evening, probably 2007 or 2008, I was checking buoys and noticed the numbers matching up for a fun-size morning at a not so secret Malibu spot. And that was going to take a hike into unless you lived in one of the multi-million dollar homes in that community and you have a key to access the gate. Cross-referencing Surfline, I noticed it was one of those joyous blessings where they were misforecasting the swell. As I double checked, and there was no mistaking the buoys promised to deliver the following morning. In the wee hours of the morning, I picked up my neighbor in Santa Monica, swung through Krispy Kreme, and took some donuts and coffee for the drive through Malibu. We were giddy as we parked and saw not another car or surfer nearby. We hiked down the trail and took the long jaunt down the beach in the dark as the pre dawn light began to illuminate. We walked around the corner to reveal the full view of the wave. It indeed was working and quite well. Nothing world class, but slightly overhead, very consistent and as clean as it could be, just as the buoys had promised. Paddling out between duck dives, I noticed often off in the distance a lone stand-up paddler. Through the dim light, I couldn't make out any features other than a feminine build, spring suit, and a ponytail. And I recognized this lone female SUP'er was sitting deep on the peak that rarely connects to the main section of the wave on this particular swell angle. A few minutes later, paddling for the first perfect sheet glass peak, I glanced left out of habit and noticed the girl paddling into the deeper peak. Knowing she wouldn't make the section, I stuck my head down, took a couple hard strokes, and dropped down the face, crouching into my bottom turn and driving up the smooth face. I was blinded by the beautiful morning sun now rising over Santa Monica in the distance. Just as I was nearing the lip, I heard a hoot, and to my surprise, I see the girl in my peripheral. I thought, no effing way, as I relax my posture and give way and shoot off the back of the wave, turning my head to see her. As she flies past me in a determined stance, now fully lit by the rising sun, I realize that's not a chick, that's a chili pepper. Anthony Kiedis was flying down the line, looking like he's having a blast, going as fast as he can, doing little roller coasters on his SUP all the way into the deep water of the cove. As he stood slightly crouched, paddling back out in the lineup, into the lineup of just me and my friend. He slows as he nears us and pulls down headphones off of his ears. Recognizing my misjudgment, I offered, "Sorry, man, I didn't think you were going to make it from way back in that section." He responded with a grin ear to ear and said enthusiastically, "Dude, don't even worry about it. I'm catching everything on this stupid thing. Take whatever waves you want." He took a second to put his headphones back in, wired to an iPod in a waterproof case strapped to his bicep. The first time I had seen someone with this setup listening to music in the water. The rest of the morning, my friend and I traded waves with the occasional flyby of the chili pepper, making laps through the lineup, exchanging smiles and the occasional hoot. "Give it away, give it away, give it away now," as he waved us into sections to drop in on him. Mr. Kiedis gave us a joyful wave goodbye as he lugged his SUP up the private key restricted entrance. And the entire drive home that morning, we were tripping on what a fresh breath of air, the humble, surf stoked, overly positive beam of light that Californicator is, or at least was on that special morning. Just him and us trading waves with an empty lineup for hours on a stretch of coast famous for its thick crowds. I also was amazed at the self awareness he had, especially given the time period, being the celebrity he is, riding an SUP. And yes, he was catching everything on that stupid thing, and he would be welcome, and that he should welcome being burned by a couple of shortboarders who are putting in the work. Nearly 20 years later, out of the hundreds of times that I've surfed there, I look back at that morning and marvel at how lucky we were to score that particular day, still perfectly picturing the views and able to feel some of the amazing rides I had. The chili pepper surprised the surprise and pleasant interaction being the cherry on top, making it that much more memorable, cementing the moment in my brain forever, or at least until the CTE kicks in. Work, Tyler from Savant's Coffee.
Tyler, thank you so much. Wearing my Savant's coffee hat right now. I rarely take it off, but it's funny. The last week's show, when it was Anthony Kiedis and Edward Norton, and I do believe they were going to get a surf lesson, right?
Yeah, yep.
Anthony Kiedis was one of these in my mind that was like, you have been surfing my entire basic awareness. You've been sur and you're still crappy and getting surf lessons, right? This gives me hope in Anthony Kiedis that he's just been on the wrong board. That Anthony Kiedis is a natural supper. The fact that he's catching them out the back and linking through and all this stuff makes me happy. I wanted, because I was just always like, why, Anthony? Like, you've been surfing as long as anyone. How have you not gotten beyond a fun board and a lesson? But apparently it's all
Yeah.
smoke and mirrors.
I don't remember the timestamp on that lesson, on that story of him getting the lesson. That could have been like the late 90s or something.
I mean, I suppose so, but I feel anytime I still see Anthony Kiedis surfing in any, you see him less and less, but the 5-ish years ago, whatever, Us Weekly, celebrities, they surf stories.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, Anthony Kiedis, I know you've been surfing for 20 years. Why are you riding that board that way?
Yeah, good question. Don't know, but you're right. This does give a little bit of hope.
Yeah, it makes me just think, oh, he's on the wrong craft. Horses for courses, as Devin Howard would say. Devin Howard's going to be at the boardroom.
That's right.
Go
Come on out, hang with
swimming
Devin.
in Channel Islands. Is Britt Merritt going to be there?
That I don't know.
Better be.
Britt was there last year. I think it's always just a matter of scheduling. Like if he has to be in Europe or, visiting a world tour, joining his athletes on a world tour event or something like that, then he won't be there. But otherwise, he comes down.
If you walk by the Channel Islands booth and only see Devin Howard, in the back of your mind, do you think the rude thought, Britt Merrick sent the B team?
No, I don't. I'm sure there is a B team, but I don't think Devin is it. I mean, last year they had an A team. They had
Britt,
Devin, Britt,
Devin,
Michael February was there last
yeah,
year.
I mean that was an A plus team.
So yeah, just
Oh,
depends if they have other obligations or not.
don't think they do this year. CT is off schedule till April.
I know, but they have manufacturing partners all around the world that they have to go visit at least once a year, a couple times a year. So that always is in the rotation too. Okay, well, hey, great stories. Thank you, listeners, for keeping us the content coming all the time. We appreciate that.
So much so.
And we're going to go to commercial break, and then we'll be back with more listener submitted content, believe it or not. All right, Chaz, welcome back.
So good.
We got a email from Misha, writing from the Netherlands.
Great. Ooh.
Long, long time listener, and it's always a treat, she says. Uh, in today's episode of The Grit, you guys discussed the misuse of a handicap placard, concluding that both blatant misuse and using it when it's clearly not when you're clearly not handicapped are an evident nah. Up until 3 years ago, I would have fully agreed with you. But then a COVID infection turned into long haul COVID, making me, albeit not visibly, a handicapped person. Sure, I can walk, I can ride a bike. In a pinch, I can even run or jump. But doing so triggers an acute and delayed by about 2 days crash that can last for weeks. Basically, what I want to point out is that there are probably many people who seem able bodied at first glance, yet need all the help they can just to make it through the day. Now, I could go on about the importance of respecting signs like a handicap placard that make invisible illness visible, but I'll keep it light. It's a surf podcast after all, which does make me wonder. After 3 waveless years, am I still a surfer? What do you think? Work, Misha.
Boom. Thank you, Misha, so much. Food for thought, A. Uh, in terms of judging a book by its cover, as it were, thinking that, I don't know, that anyone who is appearing able-bodied in a handicap spot is ripping off the system. But I'm gonna go, Misha, thank you, love you, but also that you are one in 10,000. That the able-bodied person you see getting out of their car doesn't in fact have long COVID, doesn't in fact have anything. But I do like the uh the kick to don't judge. Don't be so quick to judge.
Well, that's why I read it. Thanks for letting me know that there are these outlier
Yeah.
situations. I think also the Netherlands seems like a more honest place. We're in Southern California where I see a dude jumping out of a lifted truck in the
Yeah.
handicap spot. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Like,
that's the one exact one in my mind is the lifted truck and the dude hopping out with a pep in his step.
exactly. We are in a land of a-holes, basically. And I feel like the Netherlands is the opposite of that.
Yes. But also to the more important question here, 3 years not surfing, does a surfer make? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're inhibited by an illness or an injury.
I mean, again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think being a surfer is as much of wanting to be a surfer as actually surfing, right? I mean, if you are willing yourself, you have to, of course, surf from time to time. But if you live in St. Louis and you fell in love with surfing as a kid through magazines, and you finally, your folks didn't have money, but you scraped together all you had at 20 and went on a surf trip to Costa Rica. And now your job is in Des Moines and you surf when you can, but it's like, but you are listening to surf podcasts and watching surf videos and like you're a surfer.
I'm always amazed when I interact or encounter those people and they surf pretty good.
Yeah,
And I'm like, you live in Des Moines and you only go surfing when you're on surf trips, and yet you're freaking pretty good. Because I've gone through phases of my life where I surf 5 days a week and I really don't improve at all, and I might actually get worse.
I will tell you though, almost without fail, and now knocking on wood because I'm still out of the water due busted ankle, but gonna climb back in at some point soon, as soon as I stop limping like a full-on gimp. But oh, is gimp? Don't say
So,
gay.
well, we can add it to the list.
I mean, is gimp like have layers of bad? It's
I
totally does, doesn't it?
we're gonna have to look it up, and
Okay,
we'll future show we're gonna have to research it and then we can discuss.
we'll get back to gimp, but
I just think of Pulp Fiction.
I mean, yeah, the gimp, but also gimp is such a great word for somebody who's hobbled,
Yeah,
like
it
that
is.
gimp.
He's
But I'm,
gimpy.
yeah, I'm sure it's bad. But anyway, we'll revisit later. In any case, uh, I could surf 7 days a week for 7 months in a row and take off a month or two due injury and come back. Guaranteed, up until this point in my life, it is 100% true that I will surf better that first day back than I had at any point during that 7 months.
It's a good point. It's true.
So, like, I feel that your body knows what to do up to however good it can do it. Only doing it more makes you worse and worse and worse. I feel you fall into your bad habits, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Where you come in, all of a sudden you're free. Your body is unencumbered by its bad habits. So it goes to almost maximum potential of what you can do. And then you fall into your bad habits again. But that one
There,
day is like, boom.
there's also um, a lust that builds during the time off, where
Yeah.
you are studying it, you are listening to it, and you weren't studying it previously. You just watched it,
Mhm. Yeah.
But now when you're out of it, you're lusting for it, you're craving it, you're now studying it, and all of that builds into the best performance.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. The best performances, not that they're anything remarkable, but the best surfs I've ever had are coming after longish layoffs.
Yeah. So, Misha, look forward to your best session coming ahead. And this actually directly relates to a Sierra Kerr post from the last 24 or 48 hours. She got on social media and announced that she's been diagnosed with Lyme disease.
Ay, ay,
So
ay.
she's been out of commission for, I think, 8 months. And they misdiagnosed originally, and she went through different bouts. But finally, it seems like they have a correct diagnosis, and it sounds not all that dissimilar to Misha's, where she's just debilitated entirely by Lyme disease with neurological and GI involvement, was the exact quote.
Lyme is one of those things that, and I am thankful not to live on the East Coast where there's deer ticks and whatnot, right? Like I think catching Lyme disease in California, you can, but this is one of the things that is terrifying to me because it always somehow goes misdiagnosed initially, right? Like everyone I know who has had Lyme disease, there was a year or many, many months where you're just off and nobody knows, nobody knows, nobody knows. And then they finally get the diagnosis, and you would think, or I would think, like, problem solved now. We got the diagnosis, Lyme disease. No, then there's like kind of a not really uh yeah, clear cure.
No, there isn't. And it seems like it's with you for the rest of your life. It's
Yeah.
like bad news. You're going to have this forever. Good luck managing it. We don't know how it's going to display.
I mean, the good news is I feel always once you've or the people I know that have suffered. Good news, we know it's Lyme disease. Like okay news, there are things we know about Lyme disease that we can mitigate against, right? There is certain either dietary or medications or whatever that will help you. Da 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 da. Bad news, we really don't know more than that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it also, to me, we've known about Lyme disease long enough to where we shouldn't we have it solved at this point?
And also, shouldn't like if you go in, I mean, I suppose that's part of it, right? It must present so differently that doctors, you like, if I was a doc, I'm no doctor, but if I was a doctor and somebody came in with really tired all the time, and I had like, okay, let's test for whatever, cancers or whatever. And then if those get ruled out, then I'd be like, oh, so I guess you have Lyme disease, right? I mean, like, how is it's always strange to me the because it is common. It's not like Lyme disease is uncommon. It is common. But
No,
maybe I am, and I can't wait for the emails, the clarification emails, because maybe Lyme disease, this is what I'm thinking. It's one of those big tent Lyme disease things, but I mean, I guess it's specific though, right? It's a specific disease transmitted by ticks.
it's not a big tent. It is a specific disease. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a catch-all.
Yeah, it's not a catch-all of, oh, you have these
Can
symptoms, you have Lyme disease.
can you hold on a second?
Yep.
Okay. Anyways, back to Lyme disease, although I think we're done with Lyme disease, but shout out Sierra Kerr. Sounds terrible. It's the crazy thing is when you see somebody like that who's top level athlete, peak of health and young.
Yeah,
And
I
then
know.
she's just like, "Oh, you haven't heard from me in 8 months because I've been laying in a bed."
Debilitated. Yeah, it's awful. It is awful. Do you, if you're out in ticky zones, do you go crazy on the tick check afterwards?
I'm going to now. I never did before, but now I've heard this happen a handful of times, and I feel like, yeah, you have to.
Got two tools to live by right here in this very episode. Yeah, like tick check, if you are anywhere where it's ticky, just as soon as you get back, strip your clothes off, go get in the shower, and study your body like Derek Riley studies John Florence's. And because those things hide. And but I think if you get them, you're fine. I
Good
think,
to know.
yeah,
Okay, well, moving on to barrel or not to close out the show, and coming off of this hot handicap talk, using a handicap bathroom stall.
great one. Because I have zero. I mean, I have 100% rage at placard misuse, 0% at the handicap stall. I am in there all day, every day, if I can be. I am in the family bathroom as a single man, if I can be. I am in any private space luxuriating, if I can be.
Totally agree. I have no problems or qualms at all about this. Now, I will say I don't go out of my way to use the handicap bathroom stall, but if you go into the bathroom and that's the only stall that's open, I have no problem using that. And I've never once encountered another handicap person in the
Waiting.
bathroom or coming into the bathroom or exiting a bathroom, nowhere near a bathroom somehow.
No. And also, I'm not using the stall for more than appropriate. It's not like I'm going in there and taking a spritz bath and then
I should
drying
hope
my
not.
hair. I mean, people do like people do that, right? Where you or the egregiously long bathroom user public is so a no barrel. If you've got if you got to literally sit in a bathroom, and I'm not talking stall here. I'm talking, I mean, I guess stall too, but if you have to sit in a bathroom for 15 minutes, then do not leave the house. Like, and it is not time for you to go outside.
This may be a thing of the past because I don't want to point fingers at my dad necessarily, but maybe there was adult males in my life when I was growing up that would be in the bathroom for 30 minutes.
Yeah, they take the paper in there or whatever. It was like me time, right? It was the only place they
I
could
don't
get me
know.
time. I'm talking about specifically like you're waiting and not the stall, but you're waiting for the single, at the restaurant or whatever.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you're
yeah.
sitting there and it's 5 minutes and you're like, okay, it's obviously person's taking care of business. And then it's like 10 minutes and you're like, nope, no, it cannot take that long. It just cannot take that long. And so, yeah, that's PSA. If you got to go be in a stall for more than 10 minutes, do not go out in public.
Dude, 10 is very generous. If you have to be in there for 5,
Yeah,
there's a medical issue.
yeah. You don't belong. Either that or you are scrolling your phone in there and take care of business. You scroll your phone at home in the toilet if you'd like. But when out in public, take care of your business and then go to the curb and scroll your phone. No
Totally
reason.
agree. Yeah. Do not be scrolling your phone in there. If that's the reason you were in there taking up everybody else's access,
Yeah.
terrible,
Yeah.
terrible human. Okay. Listeners sent in an email with a bunch of stuff and then towards the end said, now my barrel or not. I know it probably won't make the cut, but I'm going to give it a shot. Good news, John in Portland, it made the cut.
Yes.
I live in Portland, Oregon. I have to drive 1.5 hour minimum to get to the waves. I have to drive through several tunnels, including one large one to get to the east side of Portland, from the east side of Portland to the west side on my way to the coast. Inevitably, people feel the compulsion to honk in the tunnel. It drives me effing crazy. So annoying. So, barrel or not, honking while driving through a tunnel. For me, obviously, it's a no barrel. Don't do it. Resist the compulsion. Even if your kids thinks it's a cool thing to do, teach your children it's a bad choice. Reserve the hone for road rage and driving anger. Work, John from Portland via Huntington Beach.
John, thank you for bringing this up. It's an absolute barrel in the same way that holding your breath through a tunnel is a barrel, in the same way that any kind of, not any kind, but like the childish uh joy whilst driving. Remember the first time you ever got behind the wheel of a car, John? The thinking, this is it. This is it. That fades within 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden now driving is a chore. Driving is commuting. Driving is all the bad stuff. Honking in a tunnel and or holding your breath through a tunnel is a flashback to the joy of what driving really is. Because it really truly is a joy. We're just jerks and forget it. We are moving at 70, 75, 80, or in traffic, miles an hour. I mean, all of it is super fun and we forget it. It just becomes a chore. Tunnel honk reminds you this is a joy.
Okay, I'm going the exact opposite. Um, it's absolutely obnoxious and it's intrusive to anybody else. And even when I was a kid, the driving portion is fun, but even when I was a kid, a honking of the horn wasn't my idea of fun.
But when you're in a tunnel and somebody honks and then somebody responds, it's like a rare coming together of the tribes, especially in these fractured times, right? Of inevitably, if one person honks, another person honks, and then there's a honk chain. And each one of those people, they're not doing it out of rage, they're not doing it out of frustration, they're doing it out of joy. And it's a tunnel. It's brief, it's quick, burp, burp, fun.
So
Everybody's in and out.
I remain divided. This did not bring the country together. This brought us apart because because to me it's just the lowest form of like I believe I do agree in like childlike forms of fun to bask in and engage in, but to me this is just dumb. Like if you're entertained by the sound of a horn, find a
in a
better
tunnel.
form of entertainment. You
In a
just
tunnel. So
in a
it's like
tunnel where it reverberates. So I was glad to see this one come in because I encountered this recently. Austin was with us in the car. We were driving through a tunnel and people honked. And then he was like, and by the way, Lauren and I were talking and we had to stop talking because of the honking. It like interrupted our internal conversation. And then Austin goes, why are people honking? And we're like, oh, people think
fun.
it's funny to do. Yeah, people think it's fun to do. We had to
Okay,
explain
so
it to him.
Okay, so I'm going to caveat this. Honking in a tunnel has to be an actual tunnel, a round tunnel, not a glorified overpass or I'm sorry, glorified underpass, like going to LAX, say, and you're driving under the 405 if you get off on the one or whatever. I can't remember which freeway you're driving under, but you're driving under a 8-lane freeway. That's an underpass. Don't honk under an underpass. Round tunnel through mountain, honk away.
Okay. I'm
Also,
going.
well, what do you feel about pulling up next to a big rig driver, semi truck, tractor trailer, depending on where you are in the world, what you call them, and giving that merp, merp, and then having that trucker sound his horn?
Also, not really not a thrill for me.
Joy,
Yeah.
pure joy.
Okay. Remain divided. Okay. Final barrel or nah? I'm not going to tell you what it is until we get to the punchline. I think I'm going to let it just play out. Uh, DLS and Chaz, I'll give you some brief backstory here, or I'll give you some brief backstory, then I'll get to the point. I'm in my mid 50s now, and someone recently asked if I started getting into birds in the past decade. What do they mean? Birds? Yeah, dude, birds. People turn 50 and they start getting into birds. Nope, not me. Of course not. You'll never see me with a pair of binoculars and a notebook hiding in park bushes. That's super sketch. I've got waves to catch in my free time. Upon further reflection, I guess it started with a small rebellion. I broke the condo rules on a Hawaii trip and put some breadcrumbs out on a condo balcony. Getting close up with those Polynesian cardinals sounded pretty cool. And I like those little bluish colored doves too. But almost, uh, but mostly, it was about being a scofflaw, a rebel. It was about a decade ago. Do you know they like gluten-free cornbread from Trader Joe's? They love it way more than they like rice. I better pack more cornbread in my suitcase next time I return to Kauai. Might as well see if the birds at home like it too when I get back from Kauai. Yep, turns out they love it. I mean, I'll go regular if there's no gluten-free bread, but I do have standards. The hummingbirds are giving me an eye now. They obviously feel slighted. They have no interest in cornbread. I better put up a hummingbird feeder just to keep the tensions down. Then maybe a couple more so they don't fight. Maybe, or mostly, it's about keeping the peace. But I'm not really into birds. Okay, admittedly, I'm kind of into birds now, but something happened recently that made me question everything. There's always a bird nesting in a shrub outside my office window every year. It's always a California towhee. I know these things now. But recently I saw an oak titmouse in that spot. Sweet, a total upgrade. And it's a species with a silly name. I have an opportunity to call Miss Titty. I have an opportunity to call him Mr. Titties, and it would be fully justified. I informed the cranky old lady, who is a legit birder in my building, that I think the oak titmouse was starting to nest in my shrub. She said in her cranky old lady voice, "No, birds don't nest in the fall, but they might migrate here, right? It's it's doing something in that shrub, but they don't nest. They nest in the spring. Birds nest in the spring. So what do they do? What do they do for the other 6 months? I ask. They just hang out. So birds are hobos. I'm feeding the hobo birds. Dirty little freeloading hobos. Barrel or nah, feeding birds in your 50s, I'm leaning nah now.
Oh man, great, great, great email. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm gonna say absolute barrel. I mean, A, it's victimless. B, it's entertaining. C, it's educational. D, I guess you're like providing a service. I'm all like, this is perfect. More people should have kinks like birding rather than scrolling your phone, right? Like, if you're out, the time that you are spending thinking about this versus being on social media or whatever you would do instead of this, because it's not like if you're not doing bird stuff, everybody at this point is on their phone, right?
Yeah.
100, it's a 100% guarantee. Do bird stuff, do star stuff, do beachcomby stuff, do anything other than being on your phone. Barrel.
I have no interest in birds, but I do recognize exactly what they're saying is for some reason, when you get older, that is somewhere that people gravitate towards is birding for some reason. And I think it follows the path. I think when you get older, you start to slow down and you notice these little things that were always around. Like you sit on the porch and just watch the world go by, and you start to appreciate the things that you never appreciated before. And I think birds are a really great reflection of that. They're super complex. Um, there's a wide variety of species, and they have these migratory patterns. Like there's a lot to learn and really sink your teeth into. And when you realize that was just always happening around you and you were oblivious, I think there's something amazing about that.
Absolutely. And again, as you said, it's opening the aperture to engaging your brain when the big pull on your brain in this day and age is to get sucked into some kind of digital crap. Like whatever you're doing with the birds is anti-digital crap. And I think anti-digital crap is the healthiest thing, especially now for all of our brains. Any way we can pull out, observe the real world, interact with the real world, be engaged with the real world is nothing but A plus.
Lauren was watching some show on National Geographic the other day about, I don't know if it's a series or if it was a one-off kind of a thing, but they were in they were surveying the Tepui Mountains in Venezuela. And there was a 80 something year old dude who was he's been researching his whole life, finding frogs and different animals that exist in these far-flung places that have never been documented before. But these Tepui Mountains are sheer uh, vertical walls. So the gimmick of the show was they're going to bring Alex Honnold to come climb them because scientists aren't climbers. And so there's no way for them to kind of scale those walls. And the original goal was we're going to try to get this 80-year-old up. Like we'll harness him and we'll help him. But the terrain was so tough, the 80-year-old couldn't even make it to the wall, because you're going through the rainforest and stuff. But it was fascinating. We watched this thing. She was just watching it. I come to the bed at night. She has it on. It's like, oh, I guess we got sucked into this, watched an hour of it, new frogs, different things. And it's like the world is fascinating.
The best. Oh man, speaking of this, Netflix has the great new series. They just launched it, the I think Last Words or whatever, where they interview people who are inevitably going to die, old people, and then they promise that they will keep it canned until the person dies, and then they air it. So it was Jane Goodall was their first one. Jane Goodall, chimpanzee, blah, 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 just died. Like, turn that on just while waiting for wife to brush her teeth or whatever. She comes to bed, I'm watching it. She's like, what is this? Oh, it's Jane Goodall. Uh, both of us watched the entire thing. It was like all it was Jane Goodall talking about her experiences but I mean, to this point, it's just like a fascinating look at person interacting with nature. There wasn't even like cool interstitial photos or anything in this one. It's literally just her getting interviewed.
Amazing. When we turned that off, I said to Lauren, I go, you know how much better that was than watching the Real Housewives of
Yeah,
whatever, or just whatever junk show that we will sometimes get lulled into,
yeah.
and you kill brain cells. I feel like maybe I stimulated a few new brain cells this time.
There's good. I mean, I like the positive show here. Go look at birds, go watch some nature docs. Man, I'll tell you where though the nature doc has gone real bad.
Where
Instagram is full of cute little animals or whatever getting rescued. And I don't know how, I mean, Lauren is probably watches the cat ones getting rescued, right? Which is like, so there's so many of these, like people rescuing bats, and it all looks real natural. None of this could be possibly natural, right? This is all built for Instagram, but raising a little baby bat, or my kid will like go rescue spiders all the time and stuff. And I'm like, dude, those things sting and bite you, man. Like, don't touch it, doesn't need to be rescued. Don't rescue it. Just leave it be. You don't need to, yeah. Instagram has done the nature doc wrong.
so Lauren, her real goal is to have a pet raccoon,
Yeah,
and there's videos all the time on Instagram
of
of
course.
some
How
woman, crazy
cute they
woman, bringing
are.
home a
A
raccoon.
little baby, little, yeah. Like there's little skunks on there. There's
Yep.
all these things that you should absolutely not do. Uh, and I mean, I could fully see kid and Lauren too, I guess, finding somehow a baby raccoon, bringing it home. That baby raccoon, loses its shit, chews Austin's face off, gives him rabies, and then destroys your house before heading out the door.
So I need to start whispering into her phone to influence the algorithm to show the videos of the people who owned a chimpanzee and got their face ripped off.
Yeah.
Start sending her the scary versions of how this ends up and not the cute versions.
Because I get fed via daughter the cute versions perpetually. I mean, I just watched, and I'll watch them too. Like, I fully get how you get sucked in. I watched oh, we just found this little baby bat and we nursed it, and now we have this big bat who lives in our house and was just a member of the family. And I'm thinking, bats are like not supposed to do that, A, and B, don't bat, doesn't bat poo make you crazy and stuff? Like all of this is
That's a good point. It
yeah,
does make you crazy.
yeah, all of this is, but not, these are wild animals like the and it's bad for the animal too. You're not supposed to, these
No,
animals aren't supposed to be cuddled and coddled. These are
no.
wild animals. They need to, their happiest, best selves is to go be wild, not to be wrapped up in a downy, soft towel. But they're always wrapped up in like downy, soft towel. So
And
cute.
then eventually when you do put them back in the wild, they're uh not as savvy to
Yeah,
exist in
they're
that world, and
dead.
they're going to get eaten right away.
They're dead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, well, good show. Anybody who wants to come out? Boardroom show this weekend, come hang. Saturday.
Where can people get tickets?
Boardroomshow.com or at the door. There's probably like a $5 difference between the two. I think you can get them maybe for $10 online or $15, and then at the door they're 20 or something like that.
And once again, I don't shill stuff, dear listener, that I don't. It's a honest to goodness, phenomenally fun hang. It's like the best of surf because it's not sceney, it's not cool guy style, it's just fun and good people.
You know who was there last year in addition to Jonah Hill?
Rob Machado.
The world's #1 surf fan.
Oh, Karen Howard. It's worth it to go. Is Karen coming back for seconds?
I bet she is.
If B Team Son is called up into the game, she is.
I bet she might be down for another chat in the weekend van.
Cannot wait to catch up with Karen Howard. What happened this year? Karen Howard. I know some things that happened. Your B Team Son has more kids.
That's right. Grandkids for Karen Howard. All right. Well, we will see you all there this weekend. And until then,
Keep work.
all right. Thank you very much.